what to do. I don't know what to share. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, none of us had been here before, had we? So it was real tricky times. But actually what I found with working with those clients is that actually we really, in most cases, we didn't need to rip up plans or rip up content strategies or plans. It was really making some simple tweaks. So their expertise and the things that they were sharing just maybe needed a slightly different context.
Excellent.
So a bit of a rethink rather than a restart. But I think what's really important to people now is it is such a good time to review your story. Who your ideal client was now may not be the same ideal client as it was before this all started. Especially if you work with industries that have been massively impacted.
Yes.
Because your ideal client, you need to love working with them, but they've also got to be able to pay you.
Yes.
So it's a time for rethink, but it's also around making your story relevant. So there might well be things that you have in your expertise, in your past skills that you have not been bringing to the fore recently, which are now much in demand. So if you're a communicator, maybe you want to major on your crisis comms or your change comms experience. If you have done anything in the past virtually, and you haven't really talked a huge amount about that. So I have somebody who's in my network who is a facilitator, and all of this stuff has now gone online. So he has been really massively pulling to the forefront all the virtual facilitation that he has done in the past. So it's looking again
that more so.
Looking at your ideal client and what do they need right now, making your story relevant to them.
So interestingly, at the start of the lockdown in Northern Ireland, we locked down at the same time as London, but it hadn't really travelled here. It's the same as talked about this in the podcast before. It's the same as it sounds a bit weird, but like fashion. It hits London first and then it comes here. But it actually worked out really, really in Northern Ireland's favour that we locked down at the same time as the rest of the UK because it hadn't really arrived here. But still, all of my corporate bookings, which I had quite a lot of, proposals agreed. I'm just thinking there's several. There was a couple of universities. There was a health trust. There were two white collar corporations. All had agreed my proposals, booked solid for the next couple of months, and they just disappeared. Literally, not replying to emails. Everyone was firefighting, I suppose, at the start. And I had quite a stressful couple of weeks where I think for the first time in my business life ever, I had a week where I had no clients and no paying work. And to people listening might be going, well, that's not a long time, Louise. But for me, it was massive. It was a massive impact and shock, I have to say, and it was quite stressful. But I'm lucky in that I have done so much. I mean, we were talking about this previously. I have so much experience delivering online and working with clients from all over the world that, I was able to kind of take a step back, look at what was going on, and exactly what you're saying, Lucy, not change my story because it was the same story, but focus more on the experience and the previous history in my career that was about working virtually and doing online workshops. But it must be very hard. You must have clients who would be much like 100% of their work would be in person. And have people come to you and not panicked, but in that kind of negative place where they don't know what to do and how can they, and then you work with them to look into their business story to say, well, look, here, focus on this bit. Has that been a scenario that you have been working with people in?
I think a lot of my clients are doing some work in the virtual space. And I think the thing that has really benefited all of us that work independently as coaches or consultants is that we're very used to being resourceful. So we're very used to having to think on our feet. We're not used to having to go to somebody else to make decisions or tell us what to do. And I think I've seen that really coming to the fore. So, I've been able to help people in terms of how they present themselves and how they really think through that whole logic of, well, okay, where is the world? Who is, how can you, I'm going to have to use the P word, the pivot word. How can you pivot what you do and how you talk about it? Everybody is talking about pivoting. So it's become one of those eye roll words, I think, amongst in the pandemic. But yeah, I do think it's been a massive plus, really. If you have been an independent, if you have, literally, your laptop and your brain is sort of, and all of your expertise, it's all you need, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
You don't have premises, you don't have a massive amount of fixed overheads that that you have to contend with, other than software and things like that you need to run your business. So I'm very grateful for most of my clients that they're in that relatively flexible situation.
Yeah, no, I think we are. We're well set up to deal with it, which is excellent. It's really good. What do you see? Do you see the way that? So one of the things that when I do quite a lot of webinars at the moment for organizations on LinkedIn, and anyone listening who needs some help with that, get in touch. But one of the stats that I have for 2020, that Microsoft, who own LinkedIn, produced at the end of March, they said that there's 25% increase in traffic to LinkedIn in the first 3 months of 2020. And it, this is why it is so important to get your brand story right and get your LinkedIn profile up to scratch, because this is what my take on it. I feel that people who would normally be in offices and going for coffee at 10 o'clock, I've worked back in the day, everyone down tools, everyone went down to the cafe and grabbed a coffee and a scone for half an hour when I worked in BT. BT managers are now going, half an hour, it's meant to be 15 minutes. But people don't have that at the moment because they're all working at home. And I think that is why there's been so much traffic going to platforms like LinkedIn, because people still need a break. You can't work for 8 hours a day and not take a break from what you're actually working on. And I think a lot of people are going to LinkedIn and networking and connecting with their colleagues on there. And I think that's the reason for the increase in traffic. What do you think?
I think you're absolutely right, and I think it's LinkedIn is going to become even more crucial over the next few months and beyond, because you can no longer be so visible face to face. So as you said, you're not having to catch up with your colleagues, you're not having the face to face meetings or the face to face networking. So we've really got to find a new way to be visible and build those dialogues. I think what will be really interesting, though, is the innovation that comes out of this and how platforms like LinkedIn evolve and make some of the dialogue easier and richer, because going and trawling LinkedIn and maybe watching a video or two, it's not the same, is it, as going to the canteen with your colleagues? So how can we replicate that? And I don't know if the answers are all there yet.
No, but I do hope that more people are starting to actually connect with each other and have conversations on LinkedIn. Hopefully, and the statistic that from 2019, that only 1% of people are actually posting anything on LinkedIn. I mean, we need an update on that, because it's got to be different now. I think more people are getting more comfortable, and I'm saying that, but actually when I do polls of my own audiences and my own network, they're still not entirely sure. But that's why they need people like you and me, Lucy, to help them with that, and look at what their story is and what kind of content they can share online that really does replace, for now, the ability to be hosting a networking event or speaking on stage at a conference. I mean, we can't do that at the minute, which I really miss.
But I miss it too. As somebody who's relatively extroverted, I miss the opportunity of seeing people in real life.
Yes, and hopefully we'll be getting back to that. Fingers crossed, 2021. But Lucy, this has been brilliant. I knew it would be. You are so good at the way you work with people, and the fact that you are that you help them develop the framework and the strategy for getting their brand story out there. Are you launching your own podcast?
I will be launching my own podcast in the autumn. Yeah, it will be about brand story. No surprises there. Yeah. Very much for independent consultants. So I don't have any more details at this point in time, but
that's exciting though.
It's very exciting. Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Okay, in the meantime, while we await your podcast, and if you're listening to this in the future, go and check out and see if it's out yet. How can my listeners get in touch with you, Lucy?
The LinkedIn is the best place to find me. So Lucy Eckley on LinkedIn. Come and connect, or just follow maybe if you're feeling shy to start with. But I'd love to connect with you. And if you are feeling inspired to start your story, then I actually have a free 7-day mini course that people can get involved in. Start building your story in just 10 minutes a day. You can find that on my website at buildyourbrandstory.com/7 days, number 7 days.
Brilliant.
And, great place to start.
Excellent. Thank you, Lucy, so much for coming on the podcast again. You are a wonderful guest, and I'm looking forward to listening to your podcast in the future. So thank you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
So that was a really good talk with Lucy. Lucy is just so good at what she does. And honestly, if I did live near to her, I'd be going to her independent consultants meetup. If you do live in that area around Oxford, you should check it out because it looks really fun. And now they're doing them virtually. So come and join Lucy and I on Friday on LinkedIn. We will be going live at 2:00, and we would love to get your questions and for you to interact with us on the LinkedIn Live. If all of this has you intrigued about your LinkedIn profile, and are you showing up on LinkedIn and attracting your ideal clients, then get in touch with me and let's have a chat, because I am working with my VIP clients at the moment. It's a 3-hour block. We block off together where you can get your LinkedIn profile written, that we do it together, and then come up with a proper plan and strategy on how to use LinkedIn. And when I say how, I mean literally, here's how to create the post to get the most engagement. Here's when to create it. Here's how to connect with people. And let's have a strategy that helps you and your business on LinkedIn so that you don't feel overwhelmed and you're unsure about what to post, and that you are being found by your ideal clients. The LinkedIn VIP sessions are swiftly becoming my favorite thing in my business. And I got 2 booked for August already. So why not come and join me? And we'll get your LinkedIn sorted too. So come to socialbni.com/LinkedIn VIP. The other thing I wanted to say was I have now got visibility of my podcast reviews across all the different countries that people leave me reviews on, which is excellent, because before I didn't have access to podcast reviews that weren't within the UK. So I'd love it if you could leave me a review on Apple Podcasts for the podcast if you're enjoying it, because it helps more people to find the podcast. And also, why not hit subscribe so that you don't miss any more of the episodes. If you want to know how to LinkedIn, then subscribe to the podcast and I will keep you updated. I've got something new happening actually. I discovered that LinkedIn have interview tips on, if you're going for an interview, they walk you through different interview tips, and you can send a video into them and they give you feedback on your video. I will be writing about that on my blog shortly. But again, there's so much happening on LinkedIn, and if you want to keep up to date, then subscribe to the podcast. I can share all of these new different features and how to use it. As Lucy said, it's going to be really developing because we don't have the in the workplace meetups. So we've got to connect with our colleagues and clients online, and LinkedIn is definitely the place to be doing that. So reach out if you'd like to book one of the VIP sessions, or if you need any help with your LinkedIn, then do get in touch. I love to hear from you. Okay, until next week. See you on Friday.